So in the last class, we saw that what is the MapReduce program layout. Okay, like what are the main components? Like we have a driver class, and we have a mapper class, we have a reducer class, and what are the parameters that we need to pass it from one to another. Okay, like and then we have done the example of the MapReduce word count, how we would do that one. Today, let's start from the driver class perspective. Okay, like in the uh, driver class is the one which is going to execute from the beginning. Okay, like so it will start from the flow will start from the driver class, and inside the driver class you define a job class, and here you could put what are the name of your the MapReduce program, and set jar by class. This is the where you need to give the driver class name. Okay, like here, for example, here my word count driver. Okay, like so I just define my word count driver. So dot class and set mapper class. Okay, like the job dot. For the job, you need to give that what is the driver class, what is the mapper class, what is the reducer class, or any combiner class, partitioner class, record reader. Record reader, you need not give that one. Set input format and output file input format, file output format, output key, and output value class. Okay, like so, these are some of the parameters that we will add to the job object. So here set mapper class. So my mapper dot class. Okay, like for every the class, you need to give the dot class name. Okay, like then it will take the address of the class. Okay, and set reducer class. Okay, here the reducer class name, and uh, from the um, from the reducer, okay, like whatever that we have been emitting, okay, like to the as an output, okay, like we need to specify both key and value. So remember, like everything starting from uh, reading the data from the input file, okay, everything would go as a key value pair. So in the mapper phase, okay, like it reads the data in terms of the key value pair, and in the mapper inside it processes in terms of the key value pair, and mapper emits the values in the key value pair, and it writes into the disk. Okay, like the mapper outputs will be written on the disk, and reducer will read the outputs from the mapper in terms of the key value pair, and then reducer will write into a key value pair. So most of the things, everything, okay, like it will be in terms of the key value pair. Only thing is whether it's a list of key value pairs or whether it is just key value pair or a key or list of the values. So only that things would change. Especially if you say like set output key class and set output value class. So here the output, if you closely observe the words, it's set output. That means it's a output from the program itself, from the program or from MapReduce program. So which is nothing but, okay, like reducer.
Excuse me, sir.
Yep.
Sir, please zoom it, sir.
Oh, zoom it.
Because we have 10 rows of students, so they are not able to.
Okay. Sure. Are you able to see now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So your again, driver class is the starting class name in your MapReduce program, which is going to execute. Okay, like so that is the reason for every driver class you will see that static void main from where the flow of execution would start, and inside the driver, okay, like it define a job object and assign while creating a job object. Okay, like you could give the some name. okay, like which will be, you could see that the same name, okay, you could see as your application name in the yarn, okay, like whenever you submit the jar, okay, like the same name would be it displayed everywhere. So this is the name of the program or name of whatever the name that you want to, okay, like, and this job object, okay, like will taken a parameter as a configuration object, okay, like, so this one, if you want to, we'll see more about the configuration, okay, like right now you could just assume that there is a configuration object also, it will take one of the parameters, okay, like while creating a job object, okay. And for the job object, we need to for the job object, you need to tell that what is the driver class, what is the mapper class, what is the reducer class, and all the parameters that have been using in the MapReduce program. So mapper class, reducer class, and any combiner class exists, any partitioner class exists, and any changes in the input format, okay, like where is the file input format path, file output format path, okay, like these two things also will be given at the along with your job object, okay, like, and then you could say like just you could submit this job, okay, like, and then this system that exit job that wait for completion, so this will wait until the job got complete with either success or failed result, okay. That's what this indicates. I mean, this is just like an alert, okay, like it will just an alert, okay, like if this job has not got completed, okay, then it will get one, and then it will be continuously working, continuously in the same loop. Set output key class and set output key, set output value, okay, like these two things are also important, okay, like these are the outputs from your program. So for MapReduce program, the outputs are nothing but outputs of your reducers. So they are the output for your entire MapReduce program. So that is the reason here there is nothing, they are not added any keyword as a reduce. Set reducer output key value and set output reducer output key class. That is the reason they are not given that one. So if there is no keyword, that means it's a output for the entire program. But anyway, here for this program, okay, like set output key class is the text and set output key value class is interpretable. So here, the output of our word count program is having a word and then corresponding count. So word, okay, like even though it is a string, in the what do you call it? In the Hadoop, especially in the whenever you are writing your MapReduce program, all the string of writable format of the string is nothing but text class. Okay, like so. I mean, you could see that like int writable, okay, double writable, okay, like Boolean writable, okay, like similarly they could also name it as a string writable, but due to some reason they are not defined it as a string writable, but instead they define it as a text. So text is nothing but you could assume that it is a writable format of string data type. And int, obviously int has iterable. So the key is word and value is counts, corresponding count. The count is nothing but int. If you want, you could make it as a long int as well, okay, like long writable. But here, for this example, I just define it as an integer only. So for the output for my entire program is set output key class and set output value class. So these are the two things that we need to define minimum, okay, like for my driver class. And if you are doing any customizations, obviously you need to assign that one to your driver class. So this is our word count program, okay, like, and file input format, okay, like we need to give that what is the path, and here the path we are taking as a one of the arguments for my Java program, okay, like similarly the second argument is called output path. Set input path, add input path, and then output path. Meanwhile, while learning this driver, Okay, like I want to show you the, maybe you might be thinking that like, oh, word, not the word count. You want to see that um, the any example driver program. Okay, like this is another example of driver. This is one of the for one of the client. I've written the Java MapReduce programs. I'm not sure. Is it visible, Venkatesh? No.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Oh, okay. Super. I'm sorry. Which application are you seeing? The Eclipse or are you seeing Text Wrangler? I will do one thing. Probably I will take this. I'll take this and I don't have it as a project setup. Okay, like I do have the individual files. Okay, like if possible, I'll make it as a project setup as well. Then it will be much more. Okay. This is another sample for the MapReduce program, really, which is there in the production, and we made it moved into the production, and which is running in production even right now. So, I mean, here my intention is just to show you how the real driver would like, which is different from your word count. Okay. So if you observe, this is job object. Okay, like, and of course the configuration. Okay, like as I said, like, so if you want to add um, any configuration parameters, okay, like which are related to only your MapReduce program, okay, like you could also add them for your configuration object. Okay, like otherwise you could keep the same configuration object. And the next one, so you have the job object here. You could see that one. So I just given this one as a SMTU SLA lock parser. Okay, like this one of them. And set jar by class. You could use a get class. Obviously, it will give the same name, okay, like the current name, or this is that get class. Or you could also give SM parser dot get class. Okay, like any notation would work here while assigning your jar by class. And the next one, file input format, file output format. Know that here I'm not. Um, we don't have any exception here while handling about the input path and output path. And the next one, set mapper class. You could see that one. So here I just assign as a set mapper, and we are defined it as a combiner here. Okay, like set number of reducer tasks. Okay, like so for some of the cases, it's not that you always need a mapper stage and then the reducer stage. Okay, like sometimes you don't require even reducer stage. That in that cases, you could say like set number of reducer tasks equal to 0. In that, if that is the case, then you need not specify, okay, like the set output key class, set output value class, because there are no reducers. Okay, like so you need not tell the driver class what is the format of your output that you are going to store finally. If you don't specify that set number of reducer tasks and your your input format, okay, like is customized, okay, like if anything changes, okay, like in your mapper outputs and set input format, then you need to specify them to the job object. So here, set input format class. So defaultly it will be like text input format. Okay, like that is what in the word code program. It's not required to specify explicitly, okay, like about the default value. The default value is the text input format, so that's why we have explicitly mentioned about that. Here, for this example, SM parser, okay, like we have customized the input format, and which is a new input format that we defined here. Okay. I'll talk about that one whenever we're talking on input format and record reader and all kind of stuff. So that's the reason set input format class I given is this one, and for your word count, it's not required. Even if you want, you can do that one. That is also not wrong. Set input format class equal to text input format dot class. That is what, like, if you want, you can give. So set input format class, and here, since I don't have any of the reducer task and I want to emit the data from the mapper itself, so that in that cases, okay, like you need to specify, okay, like set map output key class, set map output key value class. So here, both of them. And of course, even I have given here, but it's not, there won't be any value added whether I can give or not set output key value class, because I don't have any number of reducer tasks. Okay. Set map output key class. Okay, here is the text cut class. Okay, like for my program, it just like emits some text, emits some string. Basically, it's nothing but it's called a text in the map reduce API. And set map output key value class. That means that is the value, okay, like emitting from the mappers. Okay, like here null writable. So for each of the data type, okay, like you will have a corresponding writable class. So we need to use only the writable ones, especially input and output on each stage, like mapper stage and reducer stage. So mapper would take all the inputs from a writable format. This text is also writable format. String writable is nothing but text. The reason is, okay, like all these writable, any of the data types which have been used as a writable, because they are all extended to the writable interfaces and all that stuff. So this will be used, basically we'll get a serialized object. Serialized object means it will try to create in a binary, and it will be read by another JVM. So the mapper is one JVM and the reducer is one JVM. So mapper process all your data and store the data in some format, so that even the reducer will be able to read from that and then understand that one. So here, that is the reason all the objects and data would be like serializable. Okay. Anyway, that's more of a Java concepts. Okay, like, but here in the Hadoop map reduce, so they define the writable interfaces. They don't want to use the Java native, okay, like serializable interface, but they want to define their own, okay, like serializable method, okay, like which is not a much complex like a Java native one, and which is very faster, very less complex. Okay, like, so they want to make this very simpler serializable classes. So that is the reason they introduced these writable interfaces, and all the data types they implemented their corresponding writable types. So null writable, int writable, long writable, okay, like, and double writable, float writable, and string writable. Instead of string writable, they made it as a text. I have no clue why they defined that one. Okay, like that. String writable is nothing but text. Okay. For here, for this program, whatever thing that we have written, even we don't require any of the value itself. The key itself, okay, like, will be enough for us. Okay, like earlier we defined both key and value as same. Then later on we change it value. Anyway, we're not going to use it anything. So the key would be enough for us. So key is a text class, and value is just like null writable. That means it's equivalent to the null, passing to the null values. Okay. And then finally, of course, this set output format class, input format class, and output format class. Even if any of them are customized, okay, like, then you will give the corresponding class name. If it is a default format, then you need not specify that. That is the reason even in the word count program, set output format class, I not specified anything. Otherwise, like, you need to specify the text output format class. Here also, in this scenario, set output format class, text output format, because I don't have any of the reducers. So whether I can give this or not, I don't think it will be value added. Okay. You could give any class here, because I'm not at all calling any of the reducer. So output format is always related to reducer. Um, and next one is return job, wait for completion. It's straight away. This is about the driver class. This is our word count one. I'm showing both the classes simultaneously at the same time, so then you guys will see the differences and realize that, okay, like why we have used this statement, why we are not used this statement in the sample versus real program. Next one, this is about our driver. Okay, let's go to the mapper. Mapper class. First thing, here we want to remember that key, everything will be like in terms of the key value pair. So your input for mapper is a key value pair and output for mapper is also a key value pair. Key in, value in, key out, value out. Okay, like so, I mean, you could be easily remember that, and once you know this one, then you could easily guess what would be the input type and what would be the type of the output here. Okay. First, I will come to the map method, and then I can explain that what is this my mapper and everything. So my mapper is my class. Okay, like for the mapper. So it has the map method. So we need to override this map method and then write our own code on the mapper method, what it does and everything. The input for the mapper, okay, like this context parameter will be there, okay, like for each map method, and the rest of the things are like the generic classes you could define on your own and based on your functionality. Okay, what are the functionality that you have been looking on? So based on that, you could define your the key in and key value. Okay. Here, the key in, especially for word count, we have been reading the data from the input files. Input, the input for mapper is like we're giving set of the files, and we're reading the files, and always for your mapper, the input would be, it's called like a split. So when it reads the file, okay, like it always reads in terms of the blocks, right? The split size would be pretty much equal to your block size. So it reads one block of data directly, and then the next one is whenever you define your input format. So here in the driver class, since we're not given any of the input format, the default input format is called like a text input format. So this text input format has a record reader, and it knows that how the input split will be divided into number of records. And each record from the record reader would be passed to the mapper. So from the record reader, whatever the data it's being emitting out, that will be given to the mapper method. Okay. And for here, text input format, when it reads the file data, it always emits line by line. So it always emits a single line from the file to as a logical record. So this mapper method, okay, like it will retrieve that individual record, and then we will write that what is the processing that we required, okay, like to do that line. So I already shown you word count flow. I'll open it one more time. I don't think you guys will be able to see that. And when I pass all these input files, the first one is depending on the input format that you are setting into your driver class. that input format drives how to divide this files data into splits. And then this input splits, here the split would be the block of data, a block of size. And each block, how it will be divided into a set of logical records. So that will be decided by the record reader functionality. And here the record reader, the default record reader for the text input format, divide all your block data, all your split, the data available in the split by line by line. So it will read each line by line as one logical record. That is the reason apple, orange, mango has one logical record. Orange, grape, plum is a one logical record. So for mapper method, okay, okay. So key and value. So value is the exactly like value is the one, the entire record, entire line. Okay, like entire line is one logical record, but entire line will be passed as a value here. And here the object key, typically it will get that what is the file pointer, okay, like when it's reading from the file, okay, like what is the pointer value, or what is the file pointer, what are the descriptors that you are going to get after reading this file, and which byte it's been reading, the beginning of the line, so that will be passed as a key. Okay, like that is what the default text format does. So that is why object key, we define it as an object, and then value is as a text. So this text is nothing but the line from your input file. And so first we got it, the text, okay, like if that is the input for the map method. Anyway, we can't define any of the string-based methods using the text data type. So we will convert this text data type into the toString, so value.string, so that now it became a Java string. Okay. Since it is Java string, so I could apply a lot of methods on top of that. So one is that, like, once I got this entire words, okay, like set of words or the entire line, we need to split in terms of the words, right? Like apple, orange, and mango. Okay. So for this, we use the string tokenizer. Okay, like this is a method available in the Java. Okay, like so it's very easy. Define a string tokenizer object, and then you pass a set of strings. Then automatically it will give you an array of all the individual strings. So here that's why I define as a string tokenizer, and this is the ITR is the string tokenizer object, and I'm passing it as a line as a line for this constructor. So this ITR is of string tokenizer type, and basically array of all the strings. Okay, like so you could define an iterator, okay, like to go through all the elements in this ITR. Okay, like ITR has more tokens, and then you set. So as an output, okay, like we would like to give as a word and then count as one from the mapper, right? So here we want to emit from the mapper as apple 1, orange 1, mango 1. Okay, right? And this is the output. So the word is a text object. Again, while writing from if you are writing from mapper, you need to make it as a serializable objects again. Okay, like so your Java data types will not work. So this context is the one exactly like how you write from the mapper. So you write something into the context that will be written from the mapper. The context that right, and then you give whatever it is like. So this is the text object, and then this is the one. So here the word is nothing but okay, like this is of a text one, and then I'm passing it as a iterator for next one, nothing but the value return from the string tokenizer. And then here the one is nothing but it's a numeric one. It's the writeable one value. Okay, like Here I define as an iterable, okay, like one equal to new iterable of one. So this one, context.write, okay, like one, this statement will be translated or it will be converted into, and it will help you out to have the values like apple comma one, orange comma one, mango that one, like that. So remember always from the mapper, it always get to the key value pair. So this context always will take two arguments. One is called like a key, another one is called like value. The first one is called like a key, and second one is like value. Both of these key and value should be okay, like um, should be implementing the writable interfaces. Okay, and so we are taking it as a the our input is object key text value, and we are writing as text word and then int writable one. So all these four parameters, okay, like we need to pass it to the mapper mapper class, and then when you are extending that my mapper, you extend mapper, and so object text int writable. The first one is okay, like key in here. This is the key in, so this is the object, and the value will be value in. This is the text, and key out. We are writing it as into the text object here, so that's why it is a text, and this is the one. One is of int writable, so this is the int writable, which is nothing but value. So that is how you write your mapper class. Um, is it clear now? Maybe so. That is the reason first I started with this diagram. So unless you understand this diagram and you could be able to write this diagram on your own, okay, like then you can't write Java word count using Java packages. So this diagram, okay, like somehow you need to get visualize everything for each statement in this diagram. Then only like you could write on your own, okay, like without much hurdle. Okay. This is about mapper. Is it clear, or do you want me to repeat one more time? I know first time it's really hard, okay, like to understand. Venkatesh, once you write some sample program, then it's not much hard. Okay, like so, you need to uh, chart out what is the input parameters to your mapper, what is the output parameter to the mapper, whether my logic is working fine, whether I can do that or not. Okay, like so, first you need to finalize these parameters, and the next one is the logic. Um, Logic how to get converted from mapper input to the mapper output and mapper output to the regular outputs. So that is the flow that we need to write everything. And these are all like Java code only. Obviously, um, uh, unless you are a Java developer, okay, like you cannot write Java MapReduce. So you need to be a Java developer, okay, to write into a MapReduce. You want to know about the API and all the stuff. So minimum Java knowledge would be required. Not a great Java programming here, all these ones. Okay, like if you have some understanding about um, what is this static, what is the extents, what is this generic classes or generic parameters. Okay, like we already covered in our first 2 weeks about all these parameters. Um, what is this exceptional handling, all these kind of things. Now I will, if it is already clear, any questions on the mapper class, the word count mapper class?
And Venkatesh, Hello, N. Venkatesh. Please
Hello.
mute your audio and video.
Okay. If it is clear, I'm not seeing any response, but maybe I'm hoping that it would be fine. I'll show you another some sample mapper which we have written. Okay, like for our map reduce program. I want to show you something other than word count. Okay, like then you could realize. Okay, like what is the purpose of that and everything. Since we are at the beginning stage, okay, like I'm not expecting you, okay, like to understand everything and you could write map reduce on your own, okay, like without much help. But at least if you are trying to understand what is this uh, input parameters, output parameters, what are the parameters that have been used, okay, like, so that will be enough really. Like, okay, in short, for my customized mapper, okay, like what is the thing that we define, and here I'm getting key as in integer and value I'm getting as a string. Okay, like I will write into a string as a key, and then the value I don't have anything. So here, if you see this, all the parameters for the mapper class. So my input is this is called like input for mapper, sorry, input key for mapper, input value for mapper, output key from mapper, output value from mapper. So this is the key and this is the value for outputs, and this is the key and then value for input for your mapper. So here the long writable. So for me, record reader is giving integer as a key and string as a value. And from my mapper, okay, like I'm writing into a string as a text and then a value I'm not at all writing because for me, it doesn't, I don't require any other value. This key would be enough for me to know. That is the only value that I'm expecting for my output. Uh, so long writable, so you could define. So it's, yeah, maybe you might have observed that like for word count, we're defining it as an object because we're getting as a file pointer there. So that is why that is the reason it is an object there. Okay, like, and here it is an integer. So that's why we define it as a long writable. Okay, and the text. So um, for this customized uh, mapper class, okay, like we will get the um, um, file name, okay, like from the file split, and what is the value, and we get some delimiter, and using that one, like we'll parse the data and one by step, and then we have the bunch of code like what we need to do um, each line. Okay, once we receive the input from the record reader to the mapper. And then finally, whatever the thing that we got it here, and then context dot write, okay, like, and then I will write this map output text, okay, like, and then the null writable. Simple. I'm getting in one format and then I'm processing it into another format. So just observe that context dot write, map output dot text, and if you go to the definition of this, it's a new text. It's a new text, and then for my output, value is null. So you need to make sure that what is the types, what is the key value pair that you are being getting to the mapper and passing to the mapper. So that is the difference. And this is an example.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, actually, you are using that SM input format. So, what is exactly here key input value of key value pairs of maps, sir? Mapper input key value pairs.
Long and text.
So what it is exactly, sir? Long writable and what it is exactly representing with respect to that input formats.
Oh, okay. I mean, really, what I thought is like since it is a mapper, I've not explained clearly on that what is this long writable and text. But whenever we're talking about input format, then I could talk on that. But anyway, I can explain even now also. SM mapper. I mean, what is this map reduce is that map reduce is about? Okay, like when you are in the defaultly when you use the text format, it always gives you line by line as your record reader, right? If I am able to process, if I am able to pass all your data, okay, like it always gives me line by line, okay, right? Is it not? But let me see whether I do have a sample. I think somewhere I store it. Let me see if I have any of the sample things there. Don't know whether I do have any sample data. Okay. So here I'll show you. Maybe I'll pass it. I'll paste it into the Eclipse itself. Okay. So this is some of the sample file. Okay, like we will get as a input files for our MapReduce job. So the purpose is okay, like they got this parameters from one of the devices. Okay, like which will be installed in the flight. So from this device, for every second, for every minute, okay, like it will try to emit some of these parameters. Like for example, here, and PT handling alignment offset equal to -60, total pass 1, authentication pass 0, active path open pass 1, and active authentication pass 1. So these are the some of the parameters, okay, like which will be emitted out from this device and for this timestamp. Okay, and for other after for this timestamp, okay, like these are the values which have been passed. So all these parameters are related to this timestamp. And all these parameters, the first 5 lines are related to this parameter. Okay, so this is one of the log file, okay, like generated by a device from the flight. So our purpose is, okay, like to process this file and make it as a like a canonical format. So here in this format, and this log is being generated from the device. It's called like a SM module. Okay, like there are so many devices in the flight, but one of the devices is called like SM. So from the SM, okay, like this is the log is generated from the SM, and this is my timestamp. Okay, and next one is this is my value, and this value is, maybe I could say, all other parameters which are available in other lines, okay, like will become everything like this. Is one key value pair here, other key value pair, other key value pair, like this, and I'll close this for this timestamp. And another timestamp, okay, like so similarly, and other line I will get like this, and this one would be 01 and then 19 and whatever maybe the values, and then I get this one. So we need to create a canonical records and flatten the individual lines from this file, okay, like, and then generate like this. And for each timestamp, sometimes I may get 10 lines, sometimes I may get 20, sometimes I may get 2000. I don't know how many number of lines that I would get per timestamp. So we need to flatten everything. So this is how I want to get, I need to get my output by using this number of records. So to convert the input files reading in this format and then generate the output in this one. So we decided, okay, like we'll write a Java MapReduce program. Okay, and then inside the MapReduce, in the mapper, if you define as a text input format, defaultly for every map method in the mapper, okay, like I will get one logical record. Okay, then I don't know what is the next record that I'm going to get, and also I cannot save this record, right? So if you read line by line, I cannot get this record at all. I mean, for example, here I'm not sure whether you guys are past, whether you guys are able to understand this one. So this is what like I need to get that. Like this. So if for a given timestamp, all the metrics that has been emitted, I want to store it in one place for that timestamp. Again, this is from the SM. Okay, like there are a lot of modules like that. There are 8 or 10. So from all the modules, and for this timestamp, we need to store it in one flattened way. Okay, I mean that is the purpose of that project exactly. Like so, if I use the text input format, I will always get the row by row, and then I cannot make this flattened structure at all. Okay, so what we did is we customized input format for that MapReduce program, so that all these records, all the selected records for a given timestamp, I will get as one logical unit or one logical record. So all the 5 rows here, all the 5 rows, I will get an input for my map method. So if I get all the 5 methods, it's very easy for me to make a logical records. But to send all these 5 records to your map method, that is a critical. That is a key point there. So to get that only that 5 records and pass to the mapper, okay, we need to customize input format and we need to customize our record reader. So inside the record reader, instead of emitting of each line by line, okay, we are telling record reader emit all the 5 rows. So the rows which has the same timestamp, okay, you emit that data. And then the next record and then for the next method, all these 5 rows would be given. Like that, step by step, like that, content by content, part of content by part of content will be passed to the map method.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, this can also be done by writing a map reduce, like the output of the mapper is simply considering the timestamp as a key and the other part as a value. And then at the reducer, whatever the input format that you are saying, you will get that.
Just giving you a small subset here, okay, but there is a lot of complexity got involved on that one. I think you have.
Sir, actually, sir, if you don't mind, can you show you the, sorry, please show me the implementation of record reader also. Record readers.
If you can understand that, I'm fine with that. I have just given an example, but that is not that much of easy here. Okay, to get this done. I have shown you just only the 2 records. Okay, I just pulled out from that and then I just given you 2 records. 2 things like this, but it's not like that. It's not exactly in this kind of a format. Okay, but in this way. Okay. Yeah, logically, this thing also can be done using the reducer, okay, using the reducer methodologies also, but I don't have that input file, how it look like. I will try to get that input file as well. I will show you in the next class or something like that. So, what we did is, exactly we try to define a regular regex pattern, okay, identify the beginning of the tag and ending of that one. So, any text matching with that one, I think maybe I don't have this. So some entries, oh yeah, now I got it. Sorry, I don't have this timestamp for every row like this. Yeah, maybe you're right. So this is how we used to get the data. Okay, now you could tell me how you could do that using the reducer. Yeah. Yep, sorry. I think not every line we have a timestamp, but we have this metrics listed on every line. So this is the sample. So first you get the timestamp and all the metrics will be listed down like this. And exactly not like this also, not like key value pair. Okay, there is some log content, and from the log content we need to get this total pass, authentication pass, and some values. These are all log files. These files are not emitting for this project purpose. Okay, these log files are generating already. Okay, for their debugging purpose or something like that. So we are using these files, okay, to make them usable, okay, to generate some of the meaningful information using that logs. Timestamp information like this, and all these parameters are spread across Hello, Lalita, can you mute yourself? Hello.
Hello, Lalita. Please mute your voice.
Okay. So reality is okay, like I have a timestamp and all the parameters, I have a timestamp and all these parameters. Okay, like this is somehow close to the file that I use. I mean, if I get a chance, I will try to get the file as well. I'll show you exactly what is the real file. But pretty much it is like this. And so that is the reason like I could not able to use the reducer here. Okay, like in the mapper phase itself, like I need to get all these parameters for my mapper. If the timestamp is available on every line, I think you could do that using the reducer. Yeah, you are right.
Please show me the record reader also, sir. Excuse me.
Okay, this is my record reader. Definitely, if I start the explaining of this record reader, okay, like explanation of record reader itself, it will take an hour. Okay, like so I will take it in the next class. But yeah, if you could go through that and you could see that how we have implemented this record reader. Anyway, this record reader is written by me only, so I can explain you all the details. Meanwhile, if you want to see that. High level, okay, like this record reader, okay, like has initialized. Anyway, there is nothing much explanation is required for initialization. Okay, like the key thing is get next key and get key. Two are the very important. Like this one, read next. Okay, like read next and there is one more. Next key value. Read next and next key value. These are the two parameters which are very important. How to do that. I mean, if I take this example and explain everything, maybe next class we'll go through the recorded trace. Okay, like I can explain step by step what we need to do, how we have done everything and all that stuff. And even they asked me the same question in their interview. Okay, like so once I clear that interview, I explain them like how we would do that. Okay, like I mean they are not given me like this very clearly. Okay, this is the file, this is the data. Okay, like how you do that and all the kind of stuff. They asked me something related to that, and finally we got that project, and it was run almost like 1.5 years. Okay, like I mean not only to write the record reader. There are several things exactly like similar to the record reader. Okay, like map reduce. So we have written 12 parsers directly for 12 different format of the input files, and from all these 12 sources, okay, like I consolidated and I stored into one canonical format and one timestamp. Okay, you have all the sources from the 12 sources, and then I stored into the Hive database. Okay, so this is the record reader. The first step is okay, like to understand each line by line statement in Fortran. Okay, like so, without knowing Fortran, if you are not able to write word count on your own, you cannot write any customized. So the word count should be digested completely. all the stuff. Then you could do that very easily. Then at least you could correlate and then write on your own. That's why it's not only just like a hello world or word count. It's a very good base example. Okay, like from that example, like you could write your own map reducer very easily. You want to see anything on this?
No problem, sir.
Okay, I think it's already
Not yet there.
10:45, right? Okay.
Oh,
Sorry, 10:15. What is time now?